Charlie Johnston, Ted Lenski, Quinn Mann, myself, Dawn Philibert, and our staff, Marla Keene and Alex Levin. Thank you thank you to all of you for being here. There are a number of ways to be here, one of which is to be here in the auditorium. People can also attend and participate online. And if you do attend online, please make sure you provide us with your contact information. And for those of you who are here in the auditorium, there's a sign-up sheet out back. It's important that you sign in, please, because if you should want to take any action following any of the project's decisions, that will register you as a participant in the meeting. You can also attend by phone, and if you are doing so, please provide your contact information by sending it to mkeene southburlingtonvt.gov. So let's go over the emergency evacuation procedures. In the event of an emergency, there are doors in the back of the auditorium. You would simply go out those doors and turn left or turn right, and you would be outside. Are there any additions, deletions, or changes in the order of agenda items? No. Hearing none, thank you. Number 3, are there any announcements or reminders? No. Okay, thank you. Number 4, are there any comments and questions from the public that are not related to the agenda? Okay, hearing none. Let's start with our projects. So we have 4 projects to review tonight. I am recused from the second, third, and fourth because I'm on the board of Habitat for Humanity. So I will be leaving after the first project. And the first project is Master Plan Sketch Plan Application SK2604 of Beta Technologies, Inc. to amend an approved 40.43 acre commercial master plan for a manufacturing facility and multiple related facilities. Pardon me. The amendment consists of increasing the area to 44.62 acres and increasing the commercial space square footage in the manufacturing building and flight instruction building phases at 3070 Williston Road. So I just want to acknowledge at the last meeting I was attending your presentation remotely. I was away. I apologize that we only got through 3 of the staff comments. We made a decision several years ago to not go beyond 10 o'clock because we found that after 10 o'clock, people were pretty brain dead and weren't able to give applicants their full attention. You know, people have to get up and go to work in the morning or whatever. So I apologize that we only got through 3, which is why we moved your agenda up front tonight. So please forgive us for that. I thought it would be a good idea to start by having you give us your thoughts, a little overview of the project, where we are now, just kind of catch us up, and we'll start with staff comment number 4.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Marla, I think Chris sent you over an image this afternoon. I wondered if we could just pull that up and I can walk you through this project and why we're here today. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so we didn't have this visual last time, but I think it's a good visual to pull up and just sort of reset where we are and why we're here in front of you guys today. So what we're doing here today, Beta's got a lot of big plans for South Burlington and this area of the airport and some of the surrounding areas. Today, what we're in front of you to talk about is what we feel is like a fairly minor change to some of the building footprints for the couple of buildings that are really a priority for us right now to be able to move quickly here. in the electric aviation industry. So so on the top of this image, you'll see what is going to be our training center. I actually can't read those numbers. I don't have them memorized, but on the top there, the building that's in white, that's not outlined in blue, that's our MXT training hangar. So that's a facility that's already built right there on the apron along with the parking. What we want to do is make the building that was going to be that blue outline a little bit larger, sort of to the northeast, to really enable us to lean into training our aircraft mechanics and new pilots. I spoke to that a little bit last time. And then the other exciting one for us is down on the page, our production facility, which is half built right now. We had decided to take a phased approach to this project. And so half of that, everything sort of up from the dotted line, is built already. And then the change to this master plan is that we want to lean in and make this building bigger to enable us to build more aircraft here, build our sub-assemblies here, and really lean into this area. We know that there's going to be other changes, like I mentioned, to this master plan that are forthcoming, likely later this year, as we really start to define what we're going to be doing here in South Burlington. But this is what we want to bite off now, and so this is sort of the first priority for us. So we tried to sort of do this stepwise approach where we make some of the quick changes that we know we need to make immediately, and then come back to you guys with the broader plans that are going to incorporate more into this master plan.
Thank you. And I apologize, I forgot to have you introduce yourself.
Yeah,
and I
sorry.
know I don't have to swear you, but
I
please
should have done that
introduce yourself.
too. So yeah, Alex Gagnon with Beta Technologies.
And Chris Gendron with Stantec Consulting Services.
Thanks. Okay, anyone have any questions before we start reviewing number 4 and the others?
Were there any other changes was the perimeter changing in any way on that?
Oh yeah, to the master plan. Yeah, thank you. So I spoke to what we needed for the buildings and to move the company forward. But yeah, there's some changes to the perimeter. Chris could speak to that a little bit too, but some of that is to just enable us to create some civic space and then just really start to align with the property boundary of the airport there. We had carved up some of that space in a way that I think made it more complicated than it needed to be.
Yeah, exactly right.
Any other questions? Okay. So the first question, number 4, is the public recreation path still proposed?
The public recreation path, so that's no longer where we had shown it. We had shown a public recreation path that does it interferes with that side of the building. And so we're showing some more civic space in the center of the campus.
Can you show us, please?
Yep. Yeah. So right, just sort of like bottom left of that site plan right there. Oh, sorry, down just a little ways. Yeah, there was. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. That wasn't hard to describe. But yeah, that was going to be a solar farm right there. We've got plenty of roof space now to put solar.
Yes,
we picture that being like really central to our campus. And we felt like that would be the more valuable outdoor green space to try to direct people to.
And just to get people to understand where the path used to be, it used to go along the southeast side of the building and then out to we had a viewing area, but the building kind of encroaches on that, and also there's plans for a future building to come off of that.
Right.
That we still haven't really wrapped our heads around completely, and we'll come to you with that later on this year. But we want to keep that space in our minds when we're thinking about this.
Thanks, Chris. So the kind of concentric third circles, is that banking? I mean, tell us a little bit, please, about that. The greenery,
That I will just so we don't get too far into it, I will say that's just diagrammatic. We have some really big ideas that you'll see at the actual master plan application that just haven't been thought out. I mean, we're talking about doing concert space
Yep.
or
Well, I know you mentioned that
Yeah.
earlier, I think, when you came in for your minute.
there's a lot of ideas floating out there right now, so we're not committed to anything. But yeah, those are the kind of things we're thinking about. Is like parks
Okay.
and concert space,
Okay, a
gazebos.
Beatles reunion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly what we're looking
Okay.
for.
All right, thank you. All right, number 5. If you could please describe the phasing and the timeline for each of the remaining approved phases.
Yeah. So, right, the priority for us is the big building right now, and the training center. So the other two buildings, I should look. Do you remember what the timeline was for those originally?
They were pretty far out. They were 5 or 10 years out. The other two buildings on the bottom of the page. One was a commercial space. The other was presented as a childcare facility. That will no longer be a childcare facility, but the catch is the decision reads it as a commercial retail space. So there will be some change in use in how we present that under the next application. But that will not be a childcare center. We've relocated that to a different spot.
Right. We remember.
Yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, the
anything
rest
else?
of it, the big building, like we're planning on jumping into that right away. The training center, again, that's a priority for us. The parking lot's already built, so yeah, and we're working on a strategy for those other
The other
areas.
two, probably the timing will just stay the same as it was.
Yeah.
I don't anticipate that changing at all.
Thank you. Questions from the board? Okay. Number 6, this is regarding the management plan. I'm going to read it. As Beta and BTV have become more experienced in navigating the management of the lands of the Beta Master Plan area, staff recommends the board invite the applicant to discuss how the previously approved management plan may be proposed to change under this amendment.
Yeah, we felt comfortable with the management plan that we had spoken to a couple of years ago, and it's been working out well
Okay.
between us and the airport.
Can you give us just a very brief summary of that?
Yeah, so the airport manages a lot of the area around, like really anything that we're not ground leasing from them. So they deal with the snow removal on Da Vinci Drive, which is the road that goes sort of winds around what we call the South 40 campus, like through the campus. They take care of all the snow removal and management of the apron, and they deal with the infrastructure. So any of the stormwater infrastructure and similar stuff is managed by the airport.
Okay.
And we take care of everything else.
Questions? Thank you. All right, number 7, I'm going to read this. In addition to the features described in A above, pardon me, the area east of the manufacturing building also backs into a habitat block, river corridor, and floodplain. Staff recommends the board ask the applicant how their development plan will accommodate the topography resulting from the historic quarry and comply with the requirements for the protected natural resources.
Yeah, I can take that one. At this point in time, there's no proposed grading, no proposed development, really nothing that would impact those areas, and we'll make that more clear on the next round. We'll show the areas that were delineated back there. We're nowhere near the habitat block. There may be a portion of our master plan that has that in it, but we're not developing anything there or planning to.
Thank you. Questions? Okay. Number 8, and this refers to the water department comments. Staff considers the applicant should begin work with SBWD, Water Department, on comment number 1 above in order for the board to make an affirmative finding on this criterion at the master plan stage of review. So this is kind of heads up. Probably not a bad idea to get going on that one.
Yeah, exactly. And we've actually already had conversations with them,
Okay, good.
and they've given us some really great guidance, and we're planning on kind of helping feed that loop, which is advantageous to both the airport, Beta, and CWD and SBWD.
Great. And number 9 is a similar heads up. Staff considers the applicant should begin work with the DPW, Department of Public Works, on comment number 3 above in order for the board to make an affirmative finding on this criterion at the master plan stage of review.
Yeah, we've already started that coordination as well. We've shared our previous study that we did in 2021, and we'll revise that once we get updated programming for the building.
Okay, great. Thanks. And number 10, staff recommends the board ask the applicant to discuss whether they anticipate seeking vesting for the previously approved elements or for any others.
I think on this one, we will work with staff to see what would be valuable and what might not be like what might hang us up and what things might be valuable. The way I see vesting is that when we come in for site plan, it's kind of like we already made that decision. We don't have to rehash it. But that might also cause problems. For instance, we might be like, oh, we want these light fixtures, and then we might come in and say, oh wait, we actually want this one, and then we'd have to come back and change our master plan to get it. So there might be some, we might change it up a little bit, kind of understanding what vesting means, and we'll work with staff to make sure on our application that we carefully choose what needs to be vested and what doesn't.
Okay. As you know, this is sketch, so it's pretty high level, just to give you a sense of, high level concerns or whatever. So Thank you. So that's it for the questions. Before we turn to public comment, board, do you have any questions for the applicant? No? Hearing none. Thank you, gentlemen. And are there any members of the public? Am I forgetting something?
No, I was going to ask them a question.
Sure. Oh,
Sure.
okay.
Because we've had, pre-application meetings that
Yeah,
are
that's
required.
fine. That's fine.
Did you want to talk more about how you are going to, do you think you're good on civic space with the area, or site amenity space with the area that's shown? I thought when we had talked that you had more questions for the board on approach for that.
That is a great point. Yeah. One thing that so we might have questions for you, just to get some ideas that we're thinking about and making sure we're headed in the right direction. One is the front entryway is really where we're dedicating a lot of our budget towards meeting our landscaping budget, and it's hard to see on this drawing, but there was some kind of cool auditorium steps and a lot of different different types of planters, but not all green material, because we've already packed this site full of green material and trees and such. So we were trying to get some input on, will you allow some level of hardscape as long as it's kind of meeting the spirit of the rule.
Okay.
So if I could cue it up a little bit, Alex, can you go to the plans document and go to page 6? I want to say, no, that's not quite the right one, but it'll do for now. So this is the new master plan with the old master plan boundaries shown in orange. In the previous master plan, they had a few site amenities. Site amenities are required to be equal to 6% of the floor area of the building. The site amenities were in front of the main manufacturing building, sort of between it and the parking lot, to the right-hand side of the main manufacturing building, which is now being sort of subsumed by the expanded manufacturing building. The area just above what you previously reviewed as a childcare, and then a small area way on the left of the page that was associated with the training facility. These plans sort of reduce that available space. And I think that there was some question as to whether that 6%, there was still enough land left to meet the 6%. Given that where that site amenity that the civic space that we talked about, site amenity, that we talked about, that football shaped thing is currently occupied by 3060 Williston Rd, which is the vacuum cleaner Mirabelle's building, and can't be torn down until after you plan to build the manufacturing building, or hope to build the manufacturing building. So I guess, have you figured out a solution to making your civic spaces, site amenities, numbers work out?
We were able to make, so directly adjacent to the building, we're able to meet that 6%. And then we have a dedicated civic space. The size of the civic space required for master plan. That's something we still need to work out, but I feel like
But
we
for
have
the
some
site
solutions.
amenity, the 6%, you have enough space.
Yes, we can absolutely meet 6% for each building. It's that the requirement for the civic space. We're still trying to work that out, but we have some ideas that we're kicking around that would get us there.
Okay. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure the board had a chance to provide you feedback if you were going to be stuck for the very next thing you were going to do. It'd be good to get that feedback now, but it sounds like you're not stuck in the short term, and you'll have plenty of opportunities to talk to the board before you get to the point at which you're stuck.
Yeah, we've been studying it quite a bit, so we're feeling more confident about it.
Okay.
The only other thing is, just want to get the sense, this will obviously require a revised traffic impact study, probably requiring third-party review. And I just want to get that understanding now so we can really get that third-party review initiated before the first hearing, not decide at the first hearing. And I just want to make sure that's okay. Or is that something that needs to be decided at the first hearing?
I'm okay with that. Are you?
Yeah,
What do you think, board?
I think that we have historically taken the board's guidance and assumed that you would retroactively move to approve it.
Does that work? Okay. All right.
It's more of a timing thing for us.
Yeah,
Just-
sure. I understand. Yeah. Okay. Thanks for asking that.
Of course.
Anything else? Anyone?
Anything else?
Okay.
No, I think that was it. Yeah.
Are there any members of the public here in the auditorium or online or on the phone for that matter who want to offer up public comments? Do we see any online? No? No? Going on. Okay. All right. Then you will be hearing from us. Oh, we need to, I will entertain a motion to close the hearing. Oh, it's a sketch. That's right. Okay. You're good then. We will
Thank
see
you.
you the next time.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
I should have asked you. Okay, good. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. As Dawn noted at the start of the hearing, she is recused from the next couple items. I know Mark chaired these items at the last hearing. I was unable to attend. I did watch, come on up. I did watch and participate in our deliberations, so feel caught up. But Mark will maybe chime in if needed, as well as everyone else. Yeah. So let you all get settled. And it's the same folks from the last hearing. You've all been sworn in already.
There's one change from last time.
Oh, okay. Okay, sounds good. So just for the record, since everyone who, sorry, I should read the agenda item. A little rusty. Okay. So we are on agenda item number 6. This is continued final plat application SD 2601 of Green Mountain Habitat for Humanity to subdivide an existing 36.2 acre lot developed with a single family home, a barn, and a tennis court into 2 lots of 34.2 acres, lot 1, and 2 acres, lot 2, and demolish the existing structures for the purpose of developing lot 2 to be reviewed under a separate site plan application, 1720 Spear Street. Okay, and so for the record, to start off, if everyone who might be testifying just wants to state their names, and I'll re-swear everyone in.
Brian Courier, O'Leary Burke Civil Associates, project engineer.
Tom Bellavance, owner of NEAT, Northeast Agricultural Trust.
Robin Pierce, Green Mountain Habitat for Humanity.
Great. And do you have anyone online, or is it just the 3 of you? Great. So let me swear you in. Raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Excellent. Thank you all. All right. So there was a lot of discussion on this application 2 weeks ago. Staff has prepared kind of a new, a different format of a report that is roughly broken into 3 sections. the first section being focused on the Lot 1 roadway issue, then the Lot 2 roadway issue, and then we have the balance of the items we didn't discuss previously. At the last hearing, we discussed that the board would be deliberating on the roadway items to, discuss it a little bit more and then be able to come here with some further guidance. So on the point of the roadway for Lot 1, which is the right-of-way and deeding that right-of-way to the city, I will provide a somewhat summary of what we discussed, let other board members chime in if they want at that time, and then hear a response. So given the overview provided in the staff report, the board is finding that requiring the right-of-way and the deeding that right-of-way will be required for this subdivision plan. I want to point you to on the bottom of page 4 of the staff report. This portion in particular, I think is worth highlighting. So under this public streets criteria, the DRB shall require a street to be offered for dedication of the city as a public street in accordance with the following. And this is the proposed street will or could provide a future extension to an adjoining unaffiliated property or another existing proposed or planned public street. So in this area of the regulation, we have that shall language and this, proposal really fitting into that A section of the regulation. Another couple items we wanted to note was we heard from you all that the dedication of that right-of-way could happen when Lot 1 was ultimately developed. And we want to identify the possibility that the city could want to build that road before Lot 1 is developed. So if that right-of-way is not there, that is not an option. There's also other city infrastructure items that right-of-way can provide for, which would be unrelated to the development of Lot 1, including water line infrastructure. So that's kind of the overview I wanted to provide. Board members, anything else that I missed in that you want to provide to the applicant?
Summarize it.
Okay, great. So we know that's not what maybe you guys were hoping for. Any response, further questions from us, we're happy to discuss.
I guess I don't know. It's not what we were hoping for. But I do. I mean, I understand it. It's not. Again, it's not that we don't believe the planned street will be built at some point in time. It's just it's so far away and unconnected to the development that is being proposed. We just feel that deferring that till later would still satisfy all the connectivity requirements in the official map. It's just for us. It's early on in the process.
Yeah.
So that's our only concern.
Yeah, and again, just want to stress that, and I think we walked through some of this in the previous hearing, or that some of the language in the LDRs is a little bit softer, but there is language that we found that does make this required. And also just want to highlight, we understand you're subdividing kind of for the purpose of developing this 2-acre lot right now. But the project itself is the subdivision, which considers the entire property. So, I understand the position that it doesn't have to do with the development that's going to be this project. But for our purposes of reviewing it, we have to consider the project as the subdivision, which is the entire property. So that's just another context piece I wanted to put out there.
Do you have anything you want to add?
Yeah, thank you very much. And again, I want to thank all of you for what you do for the city. I greatly appreciate it. I am far from a developer. I own the property. We bought the property 3.5 years ago to do public good for the residents of South Burlington. We are looking at selling this property, the 2 acres, at a discounted price so Habitat can truly make those houses affordable. And everything, what I'm asking the board to do is realize that everything you ask of us increases costs and make these homes more and more unaffordable for the future residents, current residents of South Burlington. So if you want to ask for that right away, and I ask Habitat for the full value of that right away that I have to give now when there's no plans on doing anything with that back property, I truly believe you are going to make these homes unaffordable. And all the talk we're hearing around the state and around the country about homes being affordable, what can we do to make homes affordable? This is the case. And I ask you to use everything you can do within your power to make these homes affordable. We are not at this time asking the city of South Burlington for any money. We're going to get these 12 homes, we're going to get these 12 families, and that should be the primary goal of what we are trying to do. So I do ask you to, whatever you can do, and we know that we, again, giving that roadway, giving that connection is a no for me as a landowner. But I hope that does not destroy what we are trying to achieve here, is to find permanent, perpetually affordable homes for the residents of South Burlington, the future residents of South Burlington. And I don't know how many other projects that are happening in Burlington where 100% of the homes are going for affordability. So again, please use everything you have in your discretion. As a resident of South Burlington, that's what I'd ask you to do. Thank you.
Yeah, so I just in response to that, and I'll let my other board members chime in if they want. Our role is not to review the merits of a project, like if it's a good project or a bad project. That's where our job is to adjudicate the regulations. And so what I'm relaying to you is that our review of the regulations is that dedicating this right of way is required per the regulations. And so that's what we're presenting. There's nothing, beyond that as far as, it's what's required to meet what is in the regulations. So that's why we're presenting that as the
Totally
position.
understand that, but a no's a no.
Any other board members want to chime in on?
No, I mean, you're pretty clear, right? I think the next point that we're going to talk about, which is the other roadway, right?
Mm-hmm.
There is language in the LDR that allows us to do modifications and waivers, right? So we are open to talking about what that looks like. But in this one, there isn't a mechanism. It's a shall. So either we don't comply with the LDR, which we don't have an option. So I guess that's where we're at.
Yeah, and again, that's why I was trying to highlight this language we have here, which is, again, the shall, very straightforward, that the project falls under this. And so when there's a shall in the regulations, that's, our job to make sure that's implemented.
Yeah, I think, remember we talking about words. I would refer to this as a driveway, not a street. So what does that do to two public streets?
So this is for lot 1, the right of way to connect the 2 streets that I'm forgetting now. The driveway is the next discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, I didn't want to.
So,
Yep.
We know based on the conversations at the previous hearing that this item is going to have to be continued.
Yep.
To address some things, which is totally fine. Everybody's expecting that. The board sort of has some options in when a project does not provide the features that are shown on the official map, and that's at the beginning of the memo on page 2 in brown. So for the next hearing, we'll provide an analysis of what the options are. So just to say it briefly without hanging a lot of details on it, the board has the authority to approve a project with conditions, or to deny a project. So I think if they have indicated that they're not going to present a plan that shows the right of way on it, so you can provide a condition. I think in this case, it's possible to be sufficiently specific, provide a 64-foot right of way extending from this point to this point, aligned with, the western boundary or the eastern boundary of the existing rights of way. Or you could deny the project. And I think that that's a conversation that we can prepare as part of the memo for the continued hearing. And if, the state statute outlines what happens in the case of a denial.
Okay.
And just so we're on the same page, if it was, in your staff report, you went through the denial process, we would just want to make sure that that's the only issue.
And that was actually one of the things I was thinking about. And I'm a little afraid of speaking before I'm totally ready, but I believe that there may be two ways a board can go about a denial.
Okay.
I think the board can either do like a one-page denial that says this project doesn't comply with the official map, therefore we didn't look at anything else, denied. And that way, if the denial were to be overturned, there would be nothing for to be approved, so they would have to come back for everything. The other way, and again, I'm not 100% sure on these options, but I think these are the options for other kinds of denials. The thing that I'm not sure about is if this type of denial applies to the official map. For other projects that have been denied, you can either deny it very briefly, or you can deny it with a full review of everything and say, but for this, the project would be approved.
Yeah.
So
And that
I
was
think
very
what Brian's
specific.
asking is, if possible, if that's an option with an official map type denial,
Right.
you'd be looking for the but for.
Yeah, that
Go
way,
with
if we
denial.
do go through this process and the city doesn't act on it, then it'd be pretty quick. I'd expect it to be pretty quick if we come
Right. So
back,
what it says in that last sentence is the appropriate municipal panel, which is the DRB, shall review the application without regard to the proposed public facility. So it's not an automatic approval
Sure.
if city council doesn't take action, but it could be, teed up to go through quickly, as you said.
Yep.
If that's an option on the table. So I'll research whether those two denial options are on the table and have that as part of your next hearing.
The preference would be a denial, right? Not a condition on approval for the right of way.
Yes, because I don't think a condition that we're unwilling to do would enact the state statute that
I think
staff
that's
is
right, Brian.
citing there. Yeah.
Okay. Very good. Well, thank you for discussion on that. I'll move on to the roadway on Lot 2 topic if we're
Yep.
good for that. Okay, excellent.
Thank you.
So the Lot 2 roadway, again, staff re-presented this report to be kind of all the regulations that kind of touch this are all together. But before we dive into this, we did just want to make sure and touch base with you all if there's any change to what you guys might be presenting or thinking for that street now and in the future at this time.
Sure. If you want to, Marla, do you want to bring up that plan? Oh, Alex, if you're driving. No, it's,
Sorry, you mean the one you sent over today?
yeah,
The one from supplemental?
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking site plan, the one next, but we can do it now. So that's the old layout, if you want to give a quick, not that it changed significantly, but so as we're trying to now meet a 50-foot setback on Spear Street, the 8 units that fronted on Spear Street got moved back roughly 25 feet. And as I described at our previous hearing, the parking lot got rotated 90 degrees. But essentially, as far as our conversation about a private driveway versus a public road, essentially it remains unchanged. I think where this layout maybe addresses some of the features of that would be continued with a public road. The sidewalk was talked about a few times in our previous staff report. You can see that there's a sidewalk connection to South Point Drive just to the west of the building fronting South Point. So we are creating that pedestrian connection. We believe it's a much more efficient way to connect to the existing sidewalk network rather than a sidewalk along a public road. So we feel that, as proposed, it meets that pedestrian connectivity, but it doesn't change the driveway versus public road discussion significantly. But this is where we're headed. But based on your comments tonight, we'll see.
Oh, sorry.
Is it still?
Yeah, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Is it still a 2 acre? The size of the lot
Yeah,
has
so
not changed.
we Habitat and NEAT did have a discussion after our last meeting, and the right of way is actually going to be held by NEAT and not Habitat. So the Habitat lot was 2 acres, but that included this dedicated right of way to the city, which would be held privately until such time the city acts on it, right? But somebody's got to own it until that time. So that included them together was 2 acres. There's nothing that requires us to make it 2 acres. The 12 units of density is inherent with any parcel in the city. And so I think the right of way shrinks the parcel to like 1.6. I think it's like 3/10 of an acre or something like that. So the Habitat parcel will be just the shade under 2 acres, and that strip will stay with lot 1, the ownership being NEAT, and Habitat will just take an easement for the time being.
So the road would remain within lot 1.
Correct.
And okay.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And so, as Charlie alluded to earlier, this standard, as far as providing access, potentially all the way to the property line, it provides for the opportunity for you to request modifications. So I guess, you're proposing the driveway here. And so that, I guess maybe, and I know some of this was covered previously, based on what you're proposing currently, could you talk through the elements that would potentially in the future be required to bring it up to city standards?
Yeah.
Maybe considering the road types that staff identified or
Yep.
has recommended.
Yep. So right now we're doing a private driveway. What I said at the last hearing and what we intend to modify is that we intend to build the section of the road per public standards. All right, so it'll be a 20-foot wide drive, paved drive, but underneath, typically a driveway, you'd have 18 inches of gravel or something like that. But we'll meet whatever the city standard is for that neighborhood, because changing the depth of the road and tearing it up completely we find unrealistic. But if we build the section of road to city standards, when it gets upgraded, it would be widened to what's the width for the traditional standard? 24, 27. Usually public roads are in that realm.
Right, it's 26 where there's parking and 20 where there's no parking. So it would have, bump outs at the intersections for no parking, and then the remainder would be 26.
Yep. So the added width can be added, under drains can be added, sidewalk can be added. My understanding is the city doesn't require curb anymore. So we intend to construct the elements that, in my view, can't really change once they're down.
So when you say the section, you mean the pavement cross section, not like the right of way
base
section.
of the road. Yeah. So we'll dig down to, I imagine the city section is somewhere between 24 and 30 inches. It's typical for a public road. Sometimes there's sand and gravel layers. So whatever the city requirements are, we'll do that within our 20-foot private drive. As in my view, adding that after the fact is not reasonable. But widening those sections and then putting a top course of pavement over a base layer with those widened sections to meet a city spec road, I do think is reasonable.
So if the city road width is 24 and you're proposing 20, you're only going to put in the crushed stone layer to 20 feet wide, and the future developer of lot 1 will have to widen another 4 feet of the crushed stone, requiring ripping up some of the pavement.
Yeah, so they would basically box cut on either side of the pavement edge, put down road fabric, whatever the section is, and then they would pave a base layer to match our layer.
Yeah.
And then you would top over the entire thing, whether they choose to do curb or not, add drainage facilities, whatever
This is like a cost point, right? Because you don't want to install an extra
Exactly.
4 feet of crushed
Yep.
stone and pavement.
Yeah, and then the other, which is I think equal and problematic as far as cost goes, is if it's a public street, then I think you're more apt to require it to be built to the rear property line, which is effectively doubling the amount of road serving our project. That, well, first, we don't need a public road to serve 12 units. That's not a requirement. Their driveway is perfectly adequate per the LDRs. And then, we don't need double the length of private or public road. So it's really twofold as far as cost implications.
For what it's worth, we have a limit of 2 homes served by a driveway. It needs to be a road for more than 2, not 2 homes, I'm sorry, 2 buildings.
So what Marla is pointing out, the limit for driveway is 2 buildings.
Right.
So
It would need to be a road. I don't think that changes much about what you're saying because we have private roads.
Yeah,
that are
for
roads.
9/11 purposes, sure.
Right.
Okay.
You'd have to give it a name. Okay.
I think I know the answer to this, but just for sake of discussion, it was identified in the staff report. I'm hearing that cost is largely what is compelling your proposals here. But just want to hear your response. One of the items that was presented as a potential offer or option was putting the money in escrow that would be able to be used to complete the city street to city standards to the property line in the future. Just your response to that type of.
I personally, I think that's a worse option than building it. The reason being is you're essentially putting the money out there regardless, but then we don't really control when it's going to be built. It's kind of the difference. Could be there for 10 years. We don't know. And if we were required to build it at bare minimum, at least it would somewhat benefit the project. Though again, we don't feel it's necessary. But I think putting in an escrow would be at the bottom of my list.
Okay, appreciate the feedback on that.
Welcome.
Sorry, did you guys have something else? Okay. Okay, perfect. Board, any other items or guidance we want to provide here?
We had talked about other ways to modify. Again, we're talking about the property line issue and trying to figure out ways to find kind of this happy medium so that we're meeting the needs of the current development project, but also, aligning with the regulations. And so I think we talked about some other options for modifications, which include property line to property line, but reduction in some of the other kind of required elements of a city street. So are there options that you could consider that would sort of be that middle ground where we're still going property line to property line, but are taking down some of the other expenses? Are there middle grounds there that you can think of?
I personally like the fact that in short, if we are going to upgrade it to a public road at some point, for the purpose of it will just be easier to construct it if there's nothing there now. I mean, we're extending utilities further than the end of the road to serve the buildings. The utilities are being proposed within the right of way for the most part. Sewer is on Spear Street, so it's going cross country, but water is coming through the right of way.
I think I feel more comfortable if we were. I mean, I would feel comfortable ending the street early, right? If we were still meeting all the standards, so that the street doesn't have to be redeveloped in the future, right? And then you're just redeveloping the rest of the street to whatever lot needs to be accessed from it, right?
Yeah.
The idea that we're going to build half the street, not to the property line, and we're not building the street to public standard, then you're going to have these 12 lots accessing a street that's going to have to come back under construction when I mean, there's planned development. So
Yeah.
I'm,
No.
I'm hearing we don't want to do it right now. That's fine, but then we're gonna have to rip up this street.
Yeah, some of the consequences when you do public infrastructure are guarantees, bonding requirements. You know that you have to post 110% of the construction cost of the road. I imagine just because the city's not taking ownership of it, we'd still have to do all the typical public improvement stuff, correct? So there's a warranty period tied to it. So they hold 10% of the cost of the road for a 3-year period. You know, there's an acceptance process, or at least a inspection process after it's been completed and the warranty period goes through. So whenever you cross the border into public infrastructure, it does put a lot more legal, just red tape, you know, upfront cost. It does add to it. As soon as you start saying public infrastructure, there is more to it than just building it also.
Yeah, I just, sorry, Charlie, you're thinking, but
Yeah,
and
sorry.
not going to add much here other than appreciate that raising that point of under ideal circumstances, we would have a city street to the property line. And so potentially having half of a street that's not city standards feels like it's, again, we're allowed to give modifications, but it's multiple layers of modification there. Is anyone else, I'm still thinking through this, as far as anyone else have thoughts to share with as far as guidance or thoughts with the applicant at this time?
I mean, I'll just offer. I think that this might be a circumstance where, you know, us working with you to find some sort of middle ground, we can find middle ground, but we might not find the full ground you're looking for.
Okay.
So I think Charlie raises a good point of, you know, you build a 20-foot wide street, 20-foot wide of gravel, subbase and all that.
Okay.
Down the road, that's going to cause a major issue when you go to expand it.
Yeah.
You know, some middle ground might be putting in the sub base, you know, putting in the first course of asphalt, but you don't put the top course, you don't dedicate to the city. It's built to future city standards, and we don't build it all the way to the property line.
Yeah.
It's more money, but I think it's a compromise for down the road considerations for development.
Yeah, like if we kept it a private street, so we get out of the bonding
Right.
but the bonding requirements aren't applicable, right? But maybe it's built per city spec to where we're showing it.
Correct.
Yeah.
Proper
Maybe
width, length,
Width
built
and
spec.
length. Yep. Turning radii at the end.
Right. I mean, we talked about maybe you don't put the top course on.
Yep.
So that
Utilities
when it
laid
is
out.
built to city
Yep.
standards and expanded,
Yep.
you put the full top course across the whole thing.
And I could even buy. We're going to put 20 feet of bottom course and bury the 4 feet with topsoil or something like that because you want to save on
Right.
paving costs.
Yeah.
But the underlying stone is still there that can
Yeah.
be stripped and
don't have
reused,
to-
right?
Yep. No,
If
I
Jeff-
Thinking about a 36-inch deep excavation needing to occur
Yeah.
next to a
You
paved
know,
road that
underpin the
now has
road.
traffic on
I
it.
think if it's a private street, as I think we need a name for it anyway, if it's a private street and the road itself meets city standards, I think we could meet you folks in that middle ground there.
So keep in mind, a street has, pavement for the travel lanes, the parking, green strip, sidewalk, and then street trees. I mean, they're obviously already proposing trees.
Trees are fine.
So that's not a stretch.
What do you folks think about the sidewalk? Feels redundant with the
we-
one we have.
Yeah, with access, it's access to the other lot is what you're saying for a sidewalk.
Right. And specifically in the LDR, it says that if the board is considering a modification, they shall consider requiring a pedestrian connection, at least to the property line. So I think that even if you don't do that, I think that point that's made in the LDR emphasizes that the drafters thought that at least the pedestrian connection was an important component. And I think omitting it altogether is a little bit, it feels a little bit not what the drafters intended.
We can certainly plan the street trees around one being constructed in the future. I mean, we don't need to close the door on it. It's just,
I think the transparency you're having and what we're trying to do, there is, I think there's a way to get to the point we need to be. And I think as long as we continue a dialogue, and we appreciate your openness, because we don't want. I think we see the importance of this project from your testimony as to what the reason. And I think, from my perspective, I'm all in support of that. Within our powers, we need to figure out how to do that. So we think there's room to find that, because I think giving a waiver is a difficult area for us to go to.
Right.
If we can find something, if you could be creative, bouncing idea, I think there's workability. And we can make that work. So I appreciate your openness. I think we're trying to be that as well.
Right.
Let's find the happy medium so this project can go to support a strong purpose.
Yeah, I think Brian brought up the fact that, you know, we put in what I call a desire line to the left of the northernmost building. If you're coming from Spear Street, you're going to Spear Street, that's the sidewalk you're going to take. You're not going to walk past that building, go onto the driveway, and then turn back around again to get to your building.
Well, except if the hedge is still there, right?
Yeah, we're cutting a little hole through the hedge.
Through the sidewalk.
If you're walking down Spear Street, right? And you actually come onto South Point Road, you're probably not going to just jump through
Right,
the
but
trees.
remember, there is not a sidewalk on Spear Street, and there's not planned to be a sidewalk on Spear Street, and that's part of the compelling argument for requiring the right-of-way on Lot 1 as part of this subdivision, is because the pedestrian infrastructure isn't on Spear Street on the left-hand side of the page. The pedestrian infrastructure is on the right-hand side of the page.
Yeah.
And so that sidewalk actually, it gets you farther from the pedestrian infrastructure than a sidewalk on the street.
Okay, I appreciate the detailed discussion on this. I'm going to try to summarize. I think part of our goal here is to see a modification proposal that minimizes the potential of having to dig up stuff in the future. And I think you guys understand that, and some good discussion and recommendations happen. So we know you guys are going to come back. So that's what we'll be looking for, fleshed out a little bit more. Okay. Excellent. All right, before we move on from the roadway lot 2, anything else? We're good? All right. So moving forward to the third part of this staff report, which is the rest of the items that we were not able to get to 2 weeks ago. And so I'm starting on page 13, comment numbered 25. This is, I'm just gonna read this. So staff recommends the board consider the buildable area of lot 1 when considering this standard. The buildable area of lot 1 is irregularly shaped and includes a medium-sized contiguous area on the east, with the remainder consisting of several irregular shapes. Given the existing shape of the lot and the natural resource and zoning constraints, staff considers lot 1 to be no more irregular than the parent lot. One potential way to reduce irregularity would be require lot 1 to be subdivided into several lots, which would be required at such time as it is developed in the future. Staff recommends the board permit a waiver of this criteria for lot 1 for this subdivision application. I think that makes sense here. Any further discussion?
Yeah, I definitely think it's going to become more irregular because we're requiring a right-of-way.
Yes. Moving on. So this is mix of dwelling unit types. So the applicant is proposing to construct 12 units in 3 4-family homes on lot 2. At this time, there's no development proposed on lot 1. In order to ensure compliance with this criteria, staff recommends the board include a condition that lot 1 must be developed with something other than 4-family homes. Is that something that a condition you guys would be?
Yep.
Any further thoughts on that, board? Okay. So expect to see
Do
that.
we want to say other than 4-family homes? Do we want to give some specifics, you know, like a mix of, or just other than 4-family homes?
I'm okay with other than.
I think other than, I mean, and I think we might get to this. I can't remember if it's in there. We also have the requirement about varying of different unit types, so like, 2-bedroom versus 3-bedroom and such.
Okay.
And in my mind, the threshold is pretty low. It's just a difference. Like, I would like to see more variety, but, my understanding is a lot of that is compelled by market dynamics and what's going to work. So I think general will work there. Okay. Item number 27. This is regarding the utility corridor. No planned sewer service has been indicated for Lot 1. Staff recommends the board require the applicant to modify the plans to indicate the planned sewer service for Lot 1 will be located in the right-of-way connecting up Sweet Lane and North Jefferson Street.
For a planned sewer service, yeah.
Yes,
That's
planned.
fine. Planned is fine.
Thank you. So this is also about the utility easement. So staff recommends the board ask the applicant to clarify the needed width of the utility easement.
This is about the utility easement on Lot 1 that was
Yes.
shown as part of the sketch plan for the other project.
That was the 1731, right?
Yeah,
And we said it was just utility, not
right. And the question here is not about what it's for, but can you explain the needed width, and then the board should discuss whether they are going to allow that easement to be on this lot, or they're going to say you have to squish it onto the other lot, onto lot.
Okay, so 50 feet's pretty wide. Water's coming down our planned right of way. So the only utilities coming from Spear Street would be power and sewer. So the mandated to be 10 feet apart. So we could certainly do less than 50. 50 was part of the 1730 sketch plan, so there wasn't a ton of thought behind it. So we did clarify that we weren't planning on an access there, which was likely why it was 50 feet in the first place. So with that component of it going away, just being utility, I think 30 would be plenty. Just to keep our options open. That's all.
And that would be 15 and 15, right, on either side?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's only 15 on this lot.
Which the side setback is 5?
Side's 5.
Okay, so it'd restrict the lot a little bit
By 10 feet.
by 10 feet more than what the side setback would otherwise
Yeah,
restrict.
if
Look
it
at the
restricts
plan.
our lot, we'll like if the building's in the way, we can do it less too. So
I think that the staff's point here is they don't want to see an easement impacting their ability to provide feedback on the planned development for Lot 1. They want to be able to say, make these changes to Lot 1 that are the best for Lot 1 without having to say, oh, we can't do that because there's this easement for the benefit of Lot 3.
yeah. So we're bringing sewer to the planned right of way. Water's in the planned right of way. Power is on South Point, Upswept, and North Jefferson. So I
For
don't-
Lot 1.
Yeah, all for Lot 1. Yep. So I don't think we'll end up needing the easement on 1730 Spear. Again, it was part of a sketch plan application where we were just keeping our options open, but it's conceptual.
So, sorry, if what I'm hearing is if it's potentially not needed, it would be good for it not to be there so it doesn't restrict Lot 1 in the future.
If this is the easement, I believe it's on Lot 2 and 3. It's not even on Lot
Yeah,
1.
if we can
right?
bring
No,
up
I
the
think
plan,
that-
right? It's coming from Spear up to, and you're saying you don't even need it?
Right, we're talking about the portion of the easement that's located on Lot 2. I'm sorry, it was confusing.
Yeah,
This-
could we maybe, sorry.
So this is the portion of the easement for the benefit of Lot 3 that is located on Lot 2.
Right, and that was only on the 1730 sketch plan, correct?
Correct.
But it's still information the board has.
Yeah, sure.
Us, we're not going for an
w-
easement, right?
If we do propose an easement down that shared line, we'll be sure to not constrict our building area.
Yeah.
We don't want to shift the buildings any further
That's
towards
what-
South Point.
I was
so-
hoping to pull up the plan, right? I don't think
Yeah, I can't see what
talking
plan you're
about
looking
15
at.
feet on. Yeah, I don't know if we can.
Right, we don't have the 1730 plans pulled up right
No,
now because that
I
wasn't for
was
tonight.
talking about the one that they submitted today, just
Oh.
with the right? The 15 feet off of the southern boundary seems to be reasonable, right? It
Yeah.
seems to fit within what you're planning on developing.
Yeah, so it's east-west, Alex. So it's along the
It's along the southern boundary.
southern boundary. Yeah. And so the sewer line goes in between the two buildings, that front spear. So the main goes in between those buildings underneath the parking lot and gets extended to the, or at least an easement goes to the, now that our parking lot's configured differently, we'll need to carry the sewer to that right of way. And then water's within the right of way. Power would be extended from, South Point or Spear or North Jefferson, or, it's got 3 different access points. So.
Okay. So you
Do you need it all?
Yeah, do you need it?
I don't think, again, it was part of the 1730 sketch plan. There wasn't a whole lot of thought behind it.
Right.
It's not on any of the habitat plans.
It sounds like
so
it's
we're
not going to prevent future.
No, I don't
We're
believe
good.
so.
Okay,
No.
great. Thank you for the discussion on that.
I think what I'm hearing from Brian, and I don't know if you said this intentionally or not, but I think that what I figured out from one thing you said is that because this project's coming first, if the project ends up conflicting with that easement, then the other project will just have to deal with it.
We said that.
Yeah.
We said
Okay.
that last time. Blinders on. This project's coming first.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. So these are comments from the water department. And since the roadway is reviewed as part of this application, the staff recommends the board require the applicant to modify the roadway plans to comply with comments 1, 2, and 3 above, again, from the water department. Do you have any concerns with addressing those?
Nope.
Okay, great. Utilities and service. The provided plans do not indicate, I think we did maybe talked about this, how electric, natural gas, and wired service utilities will be provided to either of the proposed lots. I think we kind of just talked through that, unless there's something else I'm not thinking about here.
Nope. So we'll have a preliminary power layout.
Yeah,
I don't believe we're planning on connecting the gas. So.
Great. Renewable energy facilities. So yes, so this is about the subdivision has been designed to include one or more of the following, and then there's 5 options there. And the staff comment is the applicant has not addressed this requirement in their application. Staff recommends the board ask the applicant to demonstrate they have incorporated at least one of these design requirements into their proposed subdivision. Can you speak to if you've planned or considered any of these elements?
Yeah, likely 1 in 5. So the building fronting South Point, the roof line will certainly be oriented directly south. And then having solar ready roofs, and I think we have some EV ready charging stations, I think should be applicable to number 5.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, and that was all for this application, again focused on the subdivision. Before I turn to public comment, just want to make sure if the board had any parting thoughts.
Yeah, I just want to clarify. So we have the right of way, which is a shall, right? And then we talked about the road modification. So after public comment, are we going to continue this so that you can provide back feedback, like another plan?
Yeah, so
showing-
there's items from
Yeah.
the previous meeting that haven't been concluded either. So it's,
Yeah.
but it sounds like the board's feedback is do better on the road in the middle,
Yes.
and then have another conversation about it at
Review the
continued
private
hearing.
streets requirements, right? And show us what you were willing to do, and then
And then just the
we
other
can
things
close
that were.
and
Yeah.
do what our options.
We come back, I plan on tackling the vast majority, if not all, of the staff report. That will just be
Yeah.
part of it.
And the intention is to get to a complete report that even if it's a denial, it's not just, it's just whatever we're gonna deny
That's
based
their
on.
request, and
That
I'll
would be
look
our
into,
preference, yes.
I'll look into what the obligations
Okay.
are of the
Yep.
board.
Yep, okay.
Great. So with that, I will open it up for any public comment. I know we have received a handful of written public comments on these sets of application, but if there is anyone currently in the audience or online who would like to make a comment regarding this application?
Yeah, I appended a couple comments to the end of the packet for the subdivision. I don't think we got anything
Yeah, they're at the subdivision.
new that wasn't, it leaves briefly flashed on the screen during the last hearing, but because you didn't get it in writing, I just added it here so you had it in writing.
Yep, and so that's part of the public packet as well. Okay, so I'm not hearing any public comments, so we will be continuing this application. The difference this time being that you guys are gonna do some work between now and then, so I'm gonna ask you when you think, and as you know, hopefully I'm not missing this, you need materials a week before?
Yes, yes. So I'd ask Marla's help in determining the actual meeting we'd be continued to, but we'd appreciate 3 weeks to do these amendments with the ones we're about to get to. So,
Okay, so that would put
those on the same
you,
track.
so we need everything 2 weeks before the meeting. So that's 5 total. So today's 17th. 1, 2, 3, 4. It'd be the meeting on the 21st of May of April, right? Or the 5th of May. So 21st of April is, you know, you get exactly 3 weeks, we get exactly 2 weeks, and if things go to fall apart, we're asking the board's forgiveness. May 5th would give us all a little bit of breathing room, but if you're anxious to get going, it's up to you. We have room on that agenda.
We have started on some things already, so I think if we shoot for materials to you, Marla, April 21st.
That'd be the continued date, so
Okay,
we would
so-
need materials 2 weeks before that.
Alright.
So on the 7th.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so it sounds like April 21st is a winner. I will entertain a motion to continue SD 2601 till the April 21st meeting.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstain? All right. So we'll revisit this on the 21st and we'll jump into the second half of this one.
Thank you.
Feel free to submit some stuff early. If you happen to be
No
done.
pressure.
If you happen to be done,
The,
you know.
the guidebook's right here.
Excellent. All right. So agenda item number 7, continued site plan application SP 2607 of Green Mountain Habitat for Humanity to develop a newly subdivided 2.0 acre lot with 3 4-family homes and associated road and infrastructure, 1720 Spear Street. And this is a different application, so I will have you just reintroduce yourselves briefly and we'll swear you in again,
Sure.
and we'll jump in.
Brian Courier, O'Leary Burke.
Tom Bellavance, owner of Northeast Agricultural Trust.
Robin Pierce, Green Mountain Habitat for Humanity.
All right, thank you. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth under penalty of perjury?
I do.
Excellent. Thank you all. Okay, so similarly, talked about this application 2 weeks ago. If there are any introductory comments you want to provide before we jump into what's left, I'll let you do that now. Otherwise, we can.
Yeah.
move in.
So staff basically in their recommendation is that, you know, the floor is ours to ask any additional follow-up questions. Love to get feedback on the plan, though I think it's significantly what you saw before. Things have slid around a little bit, but to just get any feedback on whether you folks like it or not.
Whether it complies with the regulations.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, that's what I meant.
Sorry.
So I'm going to do like the world's fastest summary of the things, the elements of the project that you reviewed.
Excellent. Thank you.
There was the 50-foot front setback, the site amenity, the direction that the buildings face and making some improvements to the Spear Street side if the buildings were going to face away from Spear Street. A little more information on what trees are going to be retained and what trees are not going to be retained. And is that it? I think that is, oh, and then pedestrian connectivity between all the different site elements, the parking, the buildings, the site amenity, the street.
Great. And so I think that brings us to starting on comment number 12 in the.
Sorry, before we
Oh,
go,
yeah,
what
go
did you decide for as rear, I guess, onto Spear Street, the exit of the building? Are you putting in, for like the basement, are you putting in like a walkouts, or you talked about
No,
like putting
I
in
don't
the
think
window?
we'll upgrade. We were doing window wells.
Window wells, okay.
That will likely be the same. We might be able to get away with the well. I haven't graded it yet, but it'll be windows in the basement. But not sure if I can get rid of the window well or not. Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to put up that plan again so the board can provide some?
Yeah, that would be great. Sidewalks, where the buildings are located, where the parking's located, those are the main features.
Yeah.
From what I saw, we'll pull it up again. I appreciate the work you've done on
Right,
it.
thank you.
I think it is in line with the discussions we had 2
Yep.
weeks ago.
The landscaping piece of it's still a work in progress.
Can you talk about the site amenity? Is that now the hatchy area in the middle?
Yeah, so like I was saying, the landscaping piece of it's still a work in progress. It's
Sure,
generally
but
just
generally moved up
yeah.
from the bottom.
Yeah, so that was on the southern part. Now we're kind of putting it, in the L of the buildings, but we're likely going to move forward with a community garden space. So our requirement is 1,200 square feet, which is kind of where we got confused. But one of the smaller amenities in your Ford-based code regs are, one of them is a community garden. So that requires 5,000 square feet of space. So we assume 5,000 carries over the 1,200. So that's we're not showing the raised beds, but likely we'll provide a row of raised beds in that location.
And could you zoom out just a little bit? I'm trying to look at you're retaining all the trees. Okay. Yep.
Yeah, so the landscaping is not where it needs to be from when we come back. This plan was just the
Right,
one
we talked about
chose to-
trying to retain trees along Spear Street, and it looks like you are.
Yeah, so
compared to
there's
before we were cutting down.
Yeah, so there's an awful lot of birches that are on our property on the southwest corner. And then we shot all the individual trees that make up that hedgerow. It's primarily deciduous trees, and then it transitions into a very mature hedge. So we didn't shoot every trunk of the hedge, but we shot all the trees prior to the hedge. So we'll be able to call off exactly what trees we're planning on retaining. The ones that are within, which will be the grading limits, inside the buildings next to the parking lot, all those will likely have to go. We might be able to save some of the ones on the southern end, but yeah.
Okay.
I think, one thing I thought I was a little concerned about when we said we had to move all the buildings 25 feet further in,
Yeah.
was that everything is going to get to be pretty tight.
Yeah.
And I like what you've done with rotating the driveway 90 degrees and putting it tight up against the driveway side of it to get a lot of green space between the parking lot and the units.
Yep.
So it really gets offset nicely.
Yeah.
One thing I think now, seeing the sidewalk going from and also making the continuity of the sidewalk so that all the units have connections.
Yeah.
I think the sidewalk that's going from the unit sidewalks out to upswept, is it?
Mm-hmm.
I'm wondering if that wants to be a continuation of the 8 units that are going north-south, because right now you're putting a sidewalk right next to a unit, so people walking by them, and it also give a little more green space. I don't know if there's other elements that prevent you from doing that.
Yeah, so the reason it's chucked to the side there is that's where our stormwater feature is.
Okay. Is there a way to start there and then bend over there?
Yeah, I might be able to make it a little wider, potentially, to slide it over further.
Right.
We can certainly look and see if we can slide.
Yeah, I'm just
I don't
thinking
know
of-
if we're going to get it one line unless we move the sidewalk further away from the buildings.
Right.
But we can look at moving it.
Well, that's what
further.
I'm talking about. moving
Before you talk about moving it, maybe we should just get to item number 2 when we get to it.
Okay.
Just notice the setback issue.
The what?
There's a setback
Oh no, this
Okay.
incorporates the setback.
Or your number 1 is the number 12?
No, I didn't rewrite the memo. It's number 12 is number 12.
Okay.
That's okay.
So we're starting at 12, is what you're saying?
Yeah, because
Okay.
we already
Well,
did.
you can.
So
We did
by,
one
But
to
we
the
can
left.
go
Revisit
back.
anything.
We can revisit anything.
all right,
but
all right. Let's
officially-
just bring this set back up. So by changing the fronting onto this private street, is the setback now going to need to be 50 from the new property line, which is now closer to the building? You know what I mean? Like we decided to
Right. So
switch
there's a 50-foot setback from Spear Street, but I think the front setback in the LSN is generally 20. Is that right?
Yeah, it's just Spear south of 89.
So Spear is an arterial, so it has an extra big setback, whereas local streets have a 20-foot setback. So this property will have 3 fronts, but the Spear Street front has a 50-foot setback, and the north and east
then-
have 20-foot setbacks.
in the blue region, right? The two, the right of way. The leftmost is going to be now the property line, and there's going to be the 20 feet from that to the edge of that building.
I think that's what's shown.
Okay. Just double checking. I don't have my scale on me. So
No, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
Whatever.
Well, you see, Charlie, a parking space is 9 feet wide.
That was a good reference, yeah. Okay, any other items we want to revisit before we go into the new ones? Any that you want us to revisit from the
No,
discussion of
I
last?
was happy with
couple
our
weeks?
review for the site plan.
Yeah.
So
Can I ask a question? Do you have a landscape architect on the project?
So Robin Pierce is a licensed landscape architect. So he'll be coordinating with our office to.
And I'm
develop
not holding you to anything that's shown on this because you said that's still very much a work in progress.
That's right.
Okay.
It is.
As a professional engineer myself, my feedback on this plan is it looks like it was drawn by an engineer, not a landscape architect.
It was.
You know how you can tell? The trees.
Perfectly.
The trees are the proposed trees are all the same size, and the existing trees.
Well, at least the trees are bigger than
It's the symbol text.
a dime, which is what they were in the plan the last time.
Very good. All right, so we'll see different landscaping when we see you on April 21st. Or updated. Okay. I will jump into comment number 12 now. So the applicant has proposed street trees on the planned street. At this time, there is no required street tree spacing. When the applicant makes the other changes as required, staff recommends that the applicant also take the opportunity to redistribute the street trees between sides of the street with an emphasis on shade trees in the green belt. So I think you were showing trees on both sides, maybe. I'm not remembering now.
Yeah, so I think they maybe weren't perfectly distributed, you know, 30 feet on center, but they were pretty close before.
And
We'll
you're
make sure
showing
they're
them both.
exactly whatever the spacing is going to be. That's
Yep.
fine.
And
I think that it may come later, but the comments from the deputy director of capital projects, who is sort of the street design person, was that for the sidewalk for that public street, her recommendation is that the sidewalk be on the west. So imagine how those street trees would interplay with the sidewalk. Yeah, and that comment comes a bit later, and there wasn't an associated red comment with it.
okay. So I guess that's just general feed when you guys are relooking at the
Right, so street
proposed
trees need to-
just-
Well, the road, strict reading the regulation says the road needs to be built, the whole road needs to be built. If anything less than the whole road is built, the street trees should be planned around
Yeah.
the whole road.
Okay. Move on? Okay. The next item is about opaque fencing around the trash area. So the proposed dumpster location is to be screened with a chain link fence with privacy slats. No height is indicated. Chain link fence is prohibited. Staff recommends the board require the applicant to modify the plan to provide a different type of enclosure. Could you speak to if you have an alternative proposal at this time, or just putting it on your radar for when you
Yeah,
come back?
we can change our detail to a PVC or wood or
Okay.
you know, something that's acceptable.
Sounds good. So item 14 is about exterior bike storage. So staff recommends the board require the applicant to modify the plans to provide 2 inverted U-type racks per building in a configuration meeting the requirements of this section and space to meet the requirements of Appendix G. So that would be 6 inverted U bike racks total.
Yep. So we're showing bike racks on our plan, but
Okay.
we'll be sure to specifically mention the inverted U and have a detail for it.
Great. So this next item is about long-term bicycle storage. So long-term bike storage to be provided for each building. Staff specifically recommends that long-term bike storage be provided for each building. And given the robust shared use path network that will be connected to this neighborhood, recommends the applicant consider exceeding the required minimum to support safe storage of a number of bikes. I will just say, as a person who currently lives in a 2-bedroom apartment whose bike lives in my living room, I appreciated this call out from staff. So thoughts about integrating long-term bike storage and potentially increasing the amount that might be provided in each building.
Understood.
Okay. All right. Item number 16, existing trees and tree protection are discussed more under 13.04G below. Staff recommends the board require the applicant to address the comments of the city arborist pertaining to the species and mix prior to hearing. So specifically, they were noting total maple trees planted should be reduced to 7, total apple trees to be reduced to 10. I think that was the element regarding species and mix.
Yep. We don't have a problem with the city arborist comments.
Okay. So this is about shade trees in the parking lot area. So the requirements are that based on the parking lot size, 5 major deciduous trees be required for the parking configuration. I didn't track how many you were showing on your updated plan.
Yep. Understood.
And then next one's pretty simple.
Yep.
2.5 caliber, you guys are showing 2 right now. As you noted, landscaping is a work in progress. So this next item is about screening. So the requirement is there shall be sufficient landscaping, walls, or fencing of sufficient height, minimum of 3 feet, and opacity to effectively screen the parking or loading area year-round from public streets. So we're not seeing that this is met yet, so just wanted your thoughts on providing this type of screening from the public road.
So is this in regard to what would be a future city street?
I think this is you have a single family lot next to a multi.
To the south?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Well,
there are
this
trees.
is about all adjacent public streets. So this is about the north, west, and the east. The north and the west are screened by the buildings, I think, largely.
The one to the south is not.
That's not a street.
Okay. All right. Because
The standard, right? I think that the board, especially when the landscaping is still in flux, could certainly say, while you're at it, please take a look at.
Yeah.
But with this revised plan, can you pull that up again, Alex? With the revised plan, this becomes almost more important because the configuration of the parking lot faces those headlights out to the future street rather than parallel, to the street.
So the board would like to see more than just street trees in that area, is what I'm gathering.
Yes.
there will be a street there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything? All right. Understood. Landscaping. So this is, yes, you guys talked about how you're gonna engage, not with other than the engineer putting together the landscaping plan. Great start.
Going back to cost, I think we'll use Habitat's in-house employee as our landscape architect. We'll draft it.
Yep.
We'll try and make it look a little nicer.
Yeah, no, sounds great.
Yeah.
So yes, landscaping budget, same thing. Want to have that be reflected. So this is about the landscaping credit. I think there was some discussion on this during the last hearing as well. So identifying the specific locations and EPSC measures that will be required to make sure anything being proposed to be retained will be protected.
Yep. Yeah, we shot all the trees that are going to stay,
Yeah,
so we'll just call them out.
Next.
Is that something that you're ready to provide the board a little more information on now? It would be helpful for me if we already have that information to know, I guess, a little more details, because the previous plan just had a table.
Yeah, so if you want to pull up, we haven't updated the table, but all the trees shown in black that are all generally the same symbol and the same size, those are our survey shots, and that's a symbol that AutoCAD brings in automatically. So
Okay, so those aren't necessarily the trees you're proposing to retain, because some of them are
like I said, it's a work in
conflicting.
progress, but the ones that are black that are showing there, those are the existing trees. So there's a lot in the southwest corner. There's a bunch of oak or birch trees, I believe, in that corner, and then with the fronts of the buildings not facing South Point and Spear, well, really South Point, we can keep the hedgerow that's there now. Like I said, about half of it's made up of really closely planted deciduous trees. You can see all the black dots there. And then we didn't bother shooting the hedges that are 6 inches on center. So the rest of it's made up of a mature hedge. But we'll call out the ones that primarily we're asking for credit for, but likely it's going to be the ones in the southwest corner, the southeast corner, and the northern line.
You'll just add another table that'll have something similar to like the proposed trees.
Yeah,
We've got
we'll just
3
modify
of
the table we have
this
and
caliber, right?
call them out explicitly. So.
Okay, I think your last statement about generally speaking, you're hoping to retain southwest corner, southeast corner, and along South Point, that was the information I was looking for.
Yeah, I think it will end up being significantly more than 15,000 that we were asking for. So.
Okay. Yes. So moving on to number 23, these are just stormwater comments. Work with the stormwater section to address those. Any concerns there?
No.
Okay.
Yep, good.
This is lighting. Staff recommends the board clarify with the applicant whether there's any building-mounted lighting proposed, and if so, required it to be shown on the drawings, and any building-mounted lighting. So is there any exterior lighting proposed?
So
or
we have
do you
pole-mounted
anticipate?
lighting for the parking lot, and then we will have residential scale, entry lights that we can do a typical for.
Great. Okay, and this is about the inclusionary zoning requirement. The inclusionary units are supposed to be built at the same time scale as the typical units. So the recommendation is, since the inclusionary requirement will not be triggered until the applicant constructs the second proposed phase, the recommendation is that the inclusionary unit be part of this second phase. Is that make sense to you all?
Yeah, they're all going to be inclusionary. So whatever
meet
the
the
requirement
requirements.
is, it will.
Okay.
There is a reporting component to include deeded inclusionary units. So though you're welcome to provide reporting for all of them, you will be required to provide reporting for some of them.
Explicitly stated. Okay.
I think that in the past for other projects, and this doesn't have to involve the board at all, there has been some flexibility in ownership units. If, you say we're going to have one in each building, and then you later decide, oh, it's not unit A, it's unit B, that doesn't have to be a problem.
Yeah, but second phase sounds fine.
Okay. Oh, and so this is about offsite option for the inclusionary unit, but that's not something you guys would be proposing here.
Right.
So we can skip that one. And comment number 27 is administrative compliance. So there's a number of items that need to be submitted, laundry list here. We'll just need these documents before closing the hearing. If there are any concerns that jump out at you now, we can discuss, but looks good.
Yep.
Okay. Wastewater and water supply. So preliminary allocation, which the applicant has not obtained, is required prior to the issuance of the final plat. And this is for wastewater and water. Once this has been done, staff recommends the board include a condition requiring final wastewater and water allocation prior to issuance of the zoning permit for each building.
Yep.
So preliminary and then final before the zoning permits. It's pretty standard.
Yep.
Great. That is the end of the items that were highlighted. Anything else from the board that we glazed over? Okay.
If I may make
Yeah.
a comment, the board knows this, but I'm saying it for the benefit of the applicant and the members of the public. The site plan is the final stage of review of a project. So all the T's must be crossed and all the I's dotted, where there's not any components that can be worked out later.
Mhm.
You know, it pertains to tiny details, the height of the dumpster enclosure, how big will the pad that the bicycle racks be on be, how big will it be? You know, what are the exact locations of the building mounted lights? Just saying it explicitly, this is all the details before the hearing is closed.
Yep. Thank you for that reminder. Anything else from you all before we take public comment? Okay. So different application, same property. Any members of the public looking to make comments on this application? Okay, we do have someone. And so we do ask you that you come up to the podium here and you'll speak into the microphone. That will allow for you to be captured on the recording, and then anyone who is attending online can hear you as well.
Sure.
And so I'm gonna have you make sure it's on. So there's a push there and it turns bright green.
It's green.
Okay, you're great. And just say your name and where you live for the record.
Paul Travers, my wife Joanne Travers, 1725 Spear Street. So we're directly across from the two units that are proposed to be built. We've written 2 letters to the board, and while the one letter was read last meeting, there were several points on that that weren't actually part of the discussion. So it's really a process question for you. How does input from the public actually get addressed? Even to say, in a dismissive way, we've covered this, or it's not part of the process. How does that work?
Yeah, so just generally public comment, it's less of a kind of question and answer and more of we take in the public comment and we consider those comments relative to the regulations that we need to consider. So again, I'm not sure exactly what pieces you're speaking to, but if there's public comments that aren't directly related to a criteria that is something that we're making a decision on, then it might not be the most relevant, but it's all considered as a whole.
Have you read the letters that we've submitted?
Yes, yeah.
And you're probably familiar, I'll just take an example.
Yeah.
Wastewater basin, we've asked questions about how that's going to be dealt with. There's very light details in the plan, and there's almost no discussion in this hearing.
Stormwater, maybe?
How does that work?
Stormwater, maybe?
I'm sorry?
Stormwater retention.
Okay.
So stormwater.
Number 3 of the public comment letter is discussing fencing or trees around the stormwater plan. That will have to be in the landscaping plan.
I'm just
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's more a process question of how do we ensure that those points that we've raised are addressed, even if they're to say we're not going to cover them here.
Yeah, so I think that if there's specific ones you're concerned about, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, the stormwater, there is a section in the report that addresses stormwater. Some of the stormwater comments are similar to your comment. The comments from the stormwater department are similar to your comments, and the board has said, please address the comments of the stormwater section. So that's how those comments will be addressed. I recall you had made some comments about screening, and the board did talk about what trees are going to be retained. I think if you guys feel okay with it, if Paul wants to bring up specific.
Yeah, we talked last meeting about the orientation of the building.
Yep.
And while there wasn't a decision made, it was apparent that you were comfortable with the rear of the house facing Spear Street, which would almost certainly be an anomaly on Spear Street, right? And where there is a rear facing, there's most certainly enough foliage, either cedars or pines, something evergreen, to block that from the street. We talked about it here tonight, but you really focus more on the driveway, as we're calling it, and the southwest portion and retaining trees. Directly across from our property, which is where the house that's going to be torn down is, there's very little trees and there's some shrubs right in front of the house. I suspect that without it being said that those shrubs are going to be torn down, such that if there isn't something in the landscaping plan that directly blocks Spear Street to the back of those houses in keeping with the neighborhood, that it's going to be exposed to Spear Street and directly to our house.
Okay.
So that's just, again, one of the points that we've raised in writing. My request, I guess, in closing is just that you would reconsider the points, ensure that they're either not appropriate and let us know that, or address them and possibly have some discussion.
Okay. Thank you so much. And it is helpful to receive comments in writing, so thank you for doing that. All right. Any other comments? Yep. So I think the mic should still be on. And again, just state your name and your address.
Mike Cimino, 33 Iris Way, South Burlington resident, and also.
Oh, sorry. I actually think your mic's not on. There's going to be a item that says push. Oh, right on the top of it.
Okay, bright green. Here we go.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Mike Cimino, South Burlington resident, also a member of the Rec and Park Committee. So when you mentioned site amenity, is that a synonym for recreational amenity, or what is viewed in the regulations as a synonym?
So a site, and I'll let staff potentially fill in a little bit here, but site amenity in the regulations, there is quite literally a table of options. So some of those might look more like a recreational type facility, and some of them are not quite that. So the proposal that we're seeing from the applicant right now is a site amenity, which is a community garden.
Community gardens.
Yep. So that.
Yep.
Yep.
Okay, so thanks for that clarification. Yep. I know we've got Hubbard. That's not far away. It'd be great if the community welcomed the arrival of a recreational amenity, a park for kids, stuff like that. That would mitigate the necessity or the need at some point in time for a neighborhood to say, hey, geez, we could use something like this, and maybe sacrifice the gardens for a play area.
Are you suggesting a site amenity that's not on the current site?
Well, I'm just saying that as a member of the Rec and Park Committee, that I would like to see Hubbard used more dynamically than is currently being supported by our city council. And if the applicant would like to, I mean, they may not need to in the context of this application because they're satisfying the requirement. But there is not a playground. There's not even a playground yet in South Village because they've been debating for eternity how they were going to use 2 or 3 acres that are parked in the front of that project, which I understand now may be mostly wet and can't be used much at all. But I think Hubbard is a great location for a park. It's a park. It's for people. And so that kind of amenity, I think is, Hubbard's a perfect place for it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that feedback and just kind of the priorities that you're seeing. I will just provide the context in this application. The site amenity that they're proposing is specific to the development they're proposing, which the development itself is only 2 acres. So that space is quite small. There's other lots being created here that might be developed in the future. And this site amenity requirement is triggered with, a future development on a future lot.
I'm just speaking personally, but I know that, there are bound to be occasions when, and particularly when you start looking at infill, which we're promoting as one way to address our housing needs, and you're not going to be able to find room all the time on site.
Yeah, I recommend next Tuesday, Planning Commission meets here, right here, and suggesting like a option to have an in lieu fee to pay for off-site amenities, right? That's not right now.
I think I'll pitch a tent.
Nice idea.
I appreciate your comments.
So for what it's worth, just if the board wanted to provide any feedback to the applicant, if you are super excited about the community garden, if you still think it's a totally open book and there's other types of amenities that they might want to consider, or if you think that Mike's idea is a great one and maybe they should consider something that's more of a recreation space, it's up to the board but I feel like it might be helpful for them to hear whether you want them to make any changes to what they've proposed as a community garden.
But they can't propose an amenity that's not on the site, right?
Right,
Okay.
but there are other types that they
Yeah,
could propose
100%,
on the
yeah.
site, including other things.
I'll speak. I think you've met the community garden makes sense. It meets one of the options that are there. You've heard public feedback.
Yep.
I'll let you evaluate the value of that public feedback, and if you want to incorporate that, it's always good to get that community feedback and work at that. Personally, I think the community garden is in line, and I'm okay with that.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just chime in. I mean, kind of reiterating what I said earlier, but given the size of the development, I think the community garden makes sense as a choice in this situation as well. So, Mark.
Yeah, I would just say that, for 12 units, it's, I think you need to look at your demographic. Is your demographic shooting for the community garden, raised planter beds, or would a small playground benefit your demographic of who you're targeting for these units? And I'm more inclined on something 12 units to trust the applicant to decide what works best as a site amenity. Something like a community park or something like that should definitely be played into the bigger overall picture of South Burlington and larger development fabrics. So.
I would say I won't repeat what everyone else has said, but I do agree with those comments. And I, as we've said before in other parts of the hearing tonight, our job is to look at the regulations, and I feel like you've done, the work that you've done meets those criteria. And like Mark said, I think that you're in the best position to figure out what is going to work best for the folks that you are hoping to live in these units. And we appreciate that you're considering that. So thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Very good. Anyone else looking to make comments here? And I'll just reiterate that you can always provide written comments as well. Okay, with that, we will be continuing this application. As we discussed, there will be a lot more details about this development coming the next time we see it. So we will also I would entertain a motion to continue SP 2607 to April 21st.
Could I just ask
Oh,
a
yeah,
question?
sorry.
Are you going to be able to provide all those details by April 21st? Or the 2nd, I think, is the deadline for, instead of like the day of, because we couldn't review the site plan, for example, right?
Yeah, and
We
that's
could have blown through all of these. And
No,
not
I know.
missed-
And at our last meeting, that's I talked about. Just I knew staff wasn't going to review it, so I knew it would be an experience
yeah.
for everybody right now. But
the
I thought
stormwater, the lights, all of that.
Yeah.
Not the day before, right?
if we can't get it done in 3 weeks, then ahead of that time, we'll certainly ask for a continuance and not look to
continue
waste
again.
anybody's time.
No.
It needs to be full.
Yeah, a full package.
Yeah, a full package will be most helpful.
I move to continue it to April
21st.
21st. There you go.
Second.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It carries. So again, we will see you for both of these items on April 21st. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on to agenda item number 8, which is minutes, which we did not have them. So hold your breath till next week. We review the minutes. Last item is any other business. Not hearing any. And with that, the meeting has closed at 8:56 p.m. Thank you.